Hey, I'm Jennifer Jordan, also known as Jenn Jordan. I've been a radio personality for 26 years. Right now, I am half of the #1 rated Jeff and Jenn Morning show on Cincinnati's Q102, and I've been here for almost 12 years. I'm also a single mom, almost divorced, separated for 8 years, and I have one child, a son who is funny and smart and silly and awesome and brilliant, sometimes impossible to live with. His name is Jakob, and he has autism, a pretty good dose of it. Jakob has come a really long way since he was diagnosed at 3.5. He was completely disconnected from the world. He tantrumed all the time, screaming and yelling, no speaking whatsoever. It was impossible to take him anywhere because there would always be an incident. Now though, after a lot of years and a lot of interventions, he is a happy, connected, interactive, talkative little guy. So I've written a memoir. It's called Grass on Tuesday, a radio chick story of bold moves, brave decisions, and a beautiful boy with autism. It's my journey from being an irresponsible, self-indulgent, adventure-seeking, hardcore partying radio chick who had absolutely no idea how to be a mom, to becoming a strong, independent, sometimes deep-thinking, philosophical advocate for my son, who ended up forging a way for him and me to not just go beyond the expert's prognosis for him, but to experience changes that nobody would have ever imagined possible, while also, finding joy and peace in the oftentimes terrifying and frustrating and incredibly sad existence that is the life of having a child with autism.
Q. Cincinnati.
Listen to Cincinnati's morning show.
Jeff and Jenn, mornings on Q102. Q102.
I cover everything, Jakob, in this book. I mean, the years of the screaming and the misery before the diagnosis, and the diagnosis itself, the behaviors and the impact that those have on our daily lives. I mean, I talk about the funny and the adorable things that he does that make me laugh. All the treatments, the medications, how I thought several times that he had broken my nose. I mean, the time that his appendix burst and he never even cried. I talk about my early life and how in no way was I prepared to handle a kid like him. I cover my radio career and all the craziness that has come along with that, the ugliness that was my marriage, and the equally as ugly dating history that led to my marriage that involved, gay guy, my married boss, several male strippers, and a thief. And I admit to substance abuse. And then I detail my adventures in personal growth. I mean, how I started to ask all of these questions about everything. And when I started doing that, I began to find answers for Jakob. How I realized that in order for him to change, that I had to change first. So I embarked on a path of self-discovery that had me traveling the country, breaking boards with my hands and walking on fire and bending rebar with my throat. I mean, and in the end, not only did I learn so much about Jakob and myself, but I learned so much about people. I've discovered an understanding and a deeper sense of compassion for everybody. And there are several thought-provoking chapters relating my life with Jakob to those big picture thoughts of love and acceptance and non-judgment. I was really honest and, for me, extremely vulnerable when I was writing this book, which is something that, I've never really done in all of my years on the radio, at least not to this extent. Opened myself up this much, either on the air or in any of my speaking engagements. And I really reveal a lot of my deepest thoughts and really talk about my fears and my mistakes. It's truly heartfelt. And that's what I was going for when I finally sat down to write this book, because I wanted to do it for years, but I waited to get to a point where I was really okay with putting it all out there for the world to read. I waited until I knew I'd be okay with other people's judgments of me and the decisions that I've made. I really think that this story needed to be told. I mean, there are a lot of great books out there about autism, but I haven't really read one that spoke to me about both the depths of the despair and the extraordinary beauty of the diagnosis, because there's both. And through all of my work with the autism community and all of the families that I've met and all of my friends and everything that I read on social media, there is just so much suffering out there. I mean, the parents, the kids, everybody touched by it. And I truly believe that pain is unavoidable, but suffering is optional. And I was lucky to find a way out of the suffering. And I want to share that with people in the hopes of giving them a new perspective on all of this, give them a new hope. You know, I also know how misunderstood we are, both the children and the parents. And I wanted to give people an insight as to what our lives are really like every day, what we go through, why our kids behave the way that they do, what a day in the life really looks like. I know how badly we autism families want to be understood, and I want to help facilitate that understanding. And big picture, you know what? This book is about so much more than just autism. It's a book about life and empowerment and unconditional love and facing a challenge that you never thought you could overcome, and deciding to see that challenge as an opportunity, and then thrilling in the excitement of taking it on and not just surviving but thriving, and finding yourself sitting in a place of realization that the thing that you thought was your biggest nightmare is actually your most beautiful dream. So that's my wish for this book, that people walk away from it seeing the world and everybody in it just a little bit differently.